Hey, it's a Drafthouse Diary, and please bear with me as I catch up on these. I've got a number of them on their way to you soon. But today's is a Drafthouse Diary for Monday, April 17th, 2023, when I went to the Alamo at Littleton Aspen Grove to see SUZUME. SUZUME is an anime feature. It's made by Makoto Shinkai, who is an amazing animator, an amazing storyteller. My favorite work of his was a very early work, an OVA called Voices of a Distant Star, which just blew me away when I saw that. And SUZUME is very good, very strong. It's a good structure of a story. It's a good story that fits this form, animation, but most also an animated feature. It's just the right size, just the right scope. It follows the character of SUZUME Iwato, who is a high school student who lives in a quiet town on Kyushu and lives with her aunt because her mother passed away some years ago in a typhoon, or in a tsunami. And she has designs to become a nurse as her mother was. And one day she encounters a man with an unusual mission. In addition to his own studies, this young man, he is a closer. His job is to close the gates, the portals that open. Because underneath Japan, in this parallel dimension, is a great dragon. And portals to this other world open up in lonely, forgotten places. And when those portals open up, the dragon can try to emerge. And when he does, that is what causes the devastating earthquakes that Japan can experience. And these portals are now opening in various places in Japan. And because the young man whose job it is to close them is subject now suddenly to a curse, SUZUME has to help him find these gates and close them and save Japan, and ultimately, they hope, restore this young man from his curse. So ultimately, this becomes a road trip and a quest movie where SUZUME and the young man in his cursed form need to travel to find these gates and to close them and to find the creature that's supposed to be helping keep them closed but isn't. And along the way, of course, SUZUME meets lots of people who help her, who don't necessarily know what her mission is, but are still welcoming. And it really shows, it speaks very well of people in various parts of Japan. It speaks very well of this sense of hospitality and this sense of dedication. The characters in this movie are very strong. SUZUME, a very well-realized character, very well-performed character by the voice actor. And the young man she's helping, he gets to do less, but still, it's a strong character. It's a well-realized character. And you get a sense of how full this character is, even though he spends most of the movie in a weird, cutesy, cursed form. SUZUME's aunt, very strong character who helps fill out the world in which SUZUME has lived and the conditions under which she has lived, the emotional conditions under which she has lived, which are, of course, very, very important to this, because ultimately it's also a very emotional story for SUZUME, who has links to some of what she now has to deal with back in her past. And I've got to give a shout out to Serizawa, who is the young man's best friend, who winds up helping SUZUME and her aunt as part of this road trip. And he is the great, he doesn't seem like much at first, but he turns out to be a totally stand-up guy who's going to roll with anything, who's going to be more competent than you expect, and also lends a certain air of humor at exactly the right times, exactly when the movie needs it. So I can recommend this movie very highly. I saw the Japanese dialogue version with English subtitles. I can't speak to the English language dub, but either way, I think the movie is going to be worthwhile. So it's a strong recommendation for me. Other parts of this trip to the Alamo. The pre-show was fun. It wasn't specific to this movie, but it did have lots of Japanese commercials and anime trailers and clips. Lots of fun things. Just got you in the mood to watch a good anime feature. The food at this visit, there's not a whole lot to say about that. I was there with my darling wife, and she had the chicken sandwich with the Asian slaw, which was one of her favorites, and it was good. I had the grilled chicken club, which I've had before. It also was good. One other thing about food, this is actually a throwback to a previous visit, because I neglected to mention this in my review of Air. When my wife and I went to see Air at this same Littleton Alamo, I ordered the Berber spiced wings once again, and they were good. My wife ordered the glazed and infused burger, which is still available there on their limited time menu, just as those wings are. But the service, this I guess is more about the service that on that visit than about the food. Our service was weirdly slow. There were people who arrived much later than we did and ordered their dinners much later than we did and were served a lot sooner than we were. When our dinners finally arrived, my wife's had the burger and it was missing everything else that was supposed to be on the burger. All the veggies and other things that were supposed to be as part of this burger, the lettuce and tomato, just not there. So she had to send it back when she discovered that this was the case. And eventually, partway through the movie, got a burger that was what she had ordered. So that was an unusual miss on the part of the service there at the Littleton Alamo. It was a crowded screening when we went to see Air. It was a crowded screening when we went to see SUZUME. But it was, the service this time was fine. We both got what we ordered in a reasonable time. I don't know what was going on in that previous visit, but it does happen sometimes. And I guess the more I go to the Alamo, the more I'm likely to encounter one of those unusual times when something goes wrong. But this visit to see SUZUME, good movie. The food was as good as usual. The pre-show was fun. So all in all, a good visit. And thank you very much for visiting with me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider clicking like down below or leaving a comment. Let me know what's your favorite anime feature, or are there any that you're looking forward to that you think I should be on the lookout for and I should go see. But more important, again, thank you. And I'll be back with more Drafthouse Diaries in the future. In the meantime, enjoy your movies. And when you do, stay till the end of the credits.